What I do want to do, though, is just remind each and every one of us how integral it is for us to remember that we're an ummah. And how important it is for us to remember the analogy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who says, كَجَسَدٍ وَاحِدٍ, that we are like one body. The unfortunate reality is, until something doesn't hit close to home, we're absolutely negative. That's the unfortunate reality of human beings. That somebody right next to me could be starving, someone right next to me could be struggling, someone that I may not be worried or concerned about could have a fatal disease, but it doesn't bother me until it hits close to home. And when things hit close to home, unfortunately, even the smallest things are treated as catastrophic. So people in America today are just walking by negligently while their own government is in many ways responsible for the starvation of so many people, the displacement of so many people, yet they won't bat an eye. I was born and raised in New York, and as I would go outside of the masjid, I would see people. There's this one brother, mashallah, very consistent. He's always there in front of the masjid, sharing pamphlets. And I remember growing up thinking like, subhanallah, I just wish this chapter could be closed and Allah can give justice to someone who unfortunately is one of the, if not the most oppressed person today that we know of. Obviously what's happening in Gaza is a plight, but that doesn't remove the fact of someone unfairly being treated, and someone who's our sister, someone who's part of this ummah, someone who, subhanAllah, we should be looking at as not just another person, just not another case, someone who's close to me, just like my blood, just like my family. And when I think about my own daughter and her complaint and her crying, and subhanAllah, just the thought of the years, the decades, the over 2 decades that our sister Aafia has been spending unfairly, it's something that a human being should not even have to be burdened with holding the thoughts. Forget about experiencing. And now more than ever, should we try to galvanize and do something about it? A lot of people can say, listen, it's a closed and shut case, it's been 20 years, nothing's going to happen. SubhanAllah, that was never the attitude of the Prophet ﷺ. The Nabi, because look, if we show weakness today, there's just going to be multiple cases. We have to be firm. And we have to do our best to get our sister out of this unfair treatment and give her the rights that are due. So just the 2-3 things I want to talk about is, number one, we need to learn to feel the pain of our Muslim brothers and sisters as our own. As our own. And I'll tell you, I'm guilty of this. I'm 100% guilty of this. Like, just driving by like it's a normal day, having lunch with my family, enjoying the company of my family, cracking jokes, knowing that I have a roof above me, knowing that I have the freedom to walk around. But then, subhanAllah, I'm reminded that there's somebody who's suffering, somebody who's being treated unjustly, and I will do my best within my capacity to raise awareness, to perhaps be a small shift in that change. But it all starts with us not otherizing it, not just dumping it onto other people, saying, oh, it's somebody else's responsibility, somebody's going to take care of it. I mean, think about it today, how desensitized we've become to the Gaza situation. You see something, just scroll past, oh, I can't take it. Oh, my heart is too weak. If your heart is too weak just to read a post or just to share a message, subhanAllah, imagine the people going through this. On the day of judgment, oppression will not be just slipped under the rug. So the first thing we need to do is, as an ummah, feel for one another's pain. Feel for one another. And it all begins with remembering that we're an ummah. Whether we're from one country or a different country, whether we speak the same language, don't speak the same language, not the same age, not the same age, whether we share a cultural background or not, it's all irrelevant. When two Muslims enter into a room, whether they speak the same language or not, there's an immediate connection. And that connection is the connection of Tawheed and Iman. And that should be able to rile us. Number 2, the concept of oppression and dhulm. Dhulm is the most hated act in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The poets would actually say, Allah will tolerate kufr on this earth. Not on the Day of Judgment, I'm not talking about the Day of Judgment. On this earth, Allah will tolerate kufr, disbelief, but Allah will not tolerate oppression. An oppressive regime, Allah will take care of that person. Allah will hold them to account. A person will have disbelief, and Allah will let it slide in this world. The akhirah is going to come. But the oppressors, Allah never lets them loose, not in the akhirah for sure, but not in this world either. And we should never be complicit. We should never be silent in the face of dhulm. Which brings me to the last and final point. And that is this idea of hopelessness. That, can I do anything about it? Is it that, subhanAllah, I am just going to, just be another voice? Because sometimes fighting for a cause is not always about the oppressed, it's about us. I always remind myself regarding this in the Palestine issue as well. I remember my own admission to weakness. I was sitting with my wife one day and she's like, oh, there's a protest happening after Asr, after Dhuhr, on a Saturday, let's go. And I said, look, I have some work. What would I, as an individual, what difference can I make? And that's when she reminded me that it's not about the difference that you make for other people, it's about you as a person. That whether you make no impact is irrelevant, it shows whether you care or not. Like if my voice, let's say for instance, me raising awareness, hypothetically, makes zero difference, it impacted me, did it not? It impacted me. And subhanAllah, every time, and now I always think about that. And I tell myself, if I cannot protest, if I cannot rally, if I cannot raise awareness, if I can just share a message, all right, fine. But on an individual basis, if I'm able to internalize what's happening, that is a step in the right direction.